Good morning. This is Steve Hoffaker. I want to welcome everyone to our first program of 2024. Get it right here. The years we were just talking about years, yeah, 2024. And this one we have like 10 programs for you this year, and we're really happy to welcome back Sugatsune, who did the first program for us, and then they did another one, and this is their third one. So we're always happy to have them. Always have a lot of really good content to share. We are recording this. If you have questions, put them in the chat. As Jeff or other team members see them as we go along, they may entertain one of your questions. We'll certainly get to them at the end. So without any other remarks, we'll go ahead and turn this over to Jeff. You can introduce yourself and your team.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. And good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Agee. I'm the National Sales Manager for Sugatsune America's Architectural Division. And today we're going to discuss how we're helping create a safer future for people through hardware. So one thing I like to touch on at the beginning of any of these is that our mission statement is really to create convenience and satisfaction for people. Universal across the board. We want to make sure everyone has a convenient and satisfactory experience, not just with our hardware, but the applications that it goes towards making. Just a couple touch points on us and our company. The Sugatsune Advantage, we are known for our high quality products, unique designs, on-time delivery, and customer service. This again goes with trying to serve, across the board, all types of different customers that we may encounter and all the different applications we may assist with. A little background on us to touch on Sugatsune. We are a privately held and operated business since 1930. We've been here in the States since about 1980s. And little fact about where the name Sugatsune comes from is from our founder, who founded the company, Mr. Sunsaburo Sugasara. If you take the beginning of the last name and the beginning of the first name and flip them, that's where you find Sugatsune. We are a global company, so we do have branches all around the world. I'm based here in Los Angeles, California. That serves as our corporate headquarters in North America. And we also have branches in other countries we communicate with to support their business as well. Down below, you'll see some of our certifications and affiliations, anything from AIA, National Kitchen and Bath Association, IIDA for designers, and also some certifications like our ISO 9120 aerospace certification, which I know we're not here to talk about planes, but I do like to point out how important it is for quality, because we do put everything through our whole process that we need to do to keep that ISO certification for quality control. We put all products, no matter what they're for, through that same procedure. This all kind of feeds in to who we are as a whole, across the board with our product categories. Our engineers at our head office in Tokyo, they've always worked and strived to not just create quality hardware, but keep safety top of mind. From the very beginning, the founder even, he studied how people worked in everyday life, whether it be with cabinets or any application they're working with, doorways, just how things function in the environment. Because they wanted to see what pain points people would have across the board of, whether it be pinched fingers, whether it be heavy lids, any sort of accessibility. It was always important to them to not just look at making something that already existed a little bit different, but kind of creating something new that helps solve these problems in the environment. Just an example of some of the industries you'll find us in. I'll touch on them really quick here. We are in just about every nook and cranny of the building industry, from kitchen and bath, retail fixtures, medical case goods, office furniture, hospitality, marine, and even transportation. Again, that really goes with looking at all those different places I listed. There's always pain points that exist and solutions that we look for to provide those industries. Next, motion design tech. This kind of goes back to what I'm talking about with our engineers. Going through that design and engineering process on hardware components is very tedious at times, but it's very, very important. Our founder that did that studying of all the applications, we're now into the third generation, and that's still how we operate as a business. We still focus in on the hardware that we make and look at how we can improve it, or be humble and, what may be wrong with it that could cause someone an injury or any sort of inconvenience, right? So we can make improvements. We always want to be striving to keep growing and learning and improving the environments we serve. Motion design tech was really developed to help solve some of these solutions. Anything from soft motion, free stop, hold in place, click motion, and even unique movements like lateral or vertical door systems. Down below, you'll see kind of some little digital examples of how, our engineering department, these little cartoons we have listed, would go and study these different applications in different parts of the market and see how we can better serve those customers. Some common places, just a quick reference here, that you'd see a lot of our MDT applications. Anything from, today we're talking more residential. So you think kitchen cabinetry, doorways, hallways, passageways, areas that need quick access, but also need extra storage. That's where you'll see a lot of this lift assist or soft motion, hold in place type of technology used. We see a lot of pain points that can exist even just walking into one's home and thinking about the path I might take from the front door all the way to my bedroom. There's a door I could shut my finger in, there's a corner that I might snag a hook on, like a lot of different pain points. And it's our job to study how people operate in their day-to-day life so we can improve that experience and allow for them to have a safe future. So just to touch on hooks a little bit, I do have an example, just a really quick reference on the screen here. When our founder, like I mentioned, studied things very in-depthly just for improvements, I did want to point out this little hook you might see as it comes into focus. We'll see if I can do it in front of the black. It's just a regular, like you'd think, cup hook, right? Most cup hooks, they have a sharp top. One thing, if you hang your hat, shirt, coat on top of the hook, it might rip if it was pulled down hard, or if somebody brushed against it on the wall, it might snag your clothes. They actually found that inconvenience while studying people, using hooks in day-to-day life, and re-engineered the whole process to add this little ball feature on top just to avoid that snagging, right? Just to create that safety with the product. And that's really the importance of how we try to study and continuously improve upon our hardware. Even here with another example, our PXB hooks, right? Like it's a stainless steel body with a silicone cover that goes over the top. But with that silicone cover, they realized that you could have a stainless steel body. If somebody were to bump their head into the hook or walk by and hit it, that could really cause injury. So the bottom base doesn't actually go to the very front of the hook itself. It allows it to have a little flexibility. So it's a soft impact that you'd have if you did bump into it. Again, creating just that small deal of safety for a situation that might happen within the home. Going into some more examples here with motion design tech and creating a safe future. Just a few different, everyday home applications I think everyone could probably relate to. Anything from toy boxes, work from home desks, extra shelving, doorways. We'll cover a few different things here. Going into lid stays. With our lid stays, the main thing you'd think is some of these lids, for me, I'm actually about to have my first child, right? And some of these kids could be opening their toy box or opening a storage bench. And if someone lets go of that lid, it's going to smash down and possibly, hit a finger. Or if anyone has issues across the board, with universal design, being able to lift a heavy lid, because I think on average, these toy box applications are about 20 pounds. It can be a little difficult with that heavy weight. Where we tried to offset that action is by creating a lid stay that not only has lift assist to lighten the load, but also, if you can see my hand here in the front, soft close, so it's not going to pinch anyone's fingers if you accidentally let go. This is great for, whether it be something like a toy box application or a storage bench, but regardless, those are the solutions we try to put in to create those safe environments. Just entering the home and maybe putting your shoes or clothes or toys that are on the floor away. And we got a little video example here. So think of having an entry ottoman that you might have some storage on. This would again allow for you to have an easy lift assist that's not going to put any strain on opening the lid, holding in place while it's open. And then when you go to toss it shut, allowing that soft close to avoid any pinched fingers, avoid any headaches, dealing with hardware, and really create a safe environment coming into your home. Another option that we saw was self-opening lid stays. Again, like seeing people that, across the board might have issues with heavier lids. This universal design feature would really help with heavy lid applications where you could lightly press up and it will self-open the whole entire lid, allowing for minimal effort to be used into opening it. And another example I really want to put out there too, because again, I feel like pinch fingers, at least for me, were always my biggest issue with hardware, in the real world, whether it be doors, cabinets, or, bar tops, anything like that. We have seen an increase in people wanting to have access like bar top counters or any flip ups that they can walk through to the other side of a counter and then drop down. Those bar top counters are usually pretty heavy, but also are pretty tall because people need them to be wide enough to have that optimal mobility space to get through. With some hardware like this LEDH pictured here, that it is kind of beefed up version of a lid stay in a sense that it's going to provide a lift assist to open it, so it's going to lighten the load, but we'll also take that large lid and as it drops down, soft close it down. So you're not going to have any loud slamming noises, no pinch fingers, and again, avoid any causes of injury that could happen with that type of application. And you'll see right there on the video that really nicely soft close down. Up next, going back a couple years, whenever we were in kind of the height of COVID times, right? There was a lot of people, including, a lot of our own employees that had to be sent home, and we saw a trend grow and then it kind of continued to stay for people optimizing small spaces to maybe create a work from home desk or work from home station. Now these applications kind of evolve into extending out maybe some countertops or laundry folding tables, or even flip up shelving for when you have guests and want to have an extra little like buffet line within the kitchen. One thing we saw when our engineers were developing products like this is for folding brackets, you need to have one that's going to hold up against the elements, whether it be inside or outside for an outdoor barbecue area or inside your home. But two, you also need something that's going to be safe to operate where you don't, pinch yourself when releasing it or having something crash down easily when the shelf collapses. I do have an example I can show you here on the screen, but we do have what was pictured up there, our EB bracket. Where this one's unique is it does hold a large load capacity. So not only can it support a large amount of weight, I believe up to 660 pounds per pair, but where these became special is it has a lever release built in to the bracket itself. So just a little paddle on the front end. So there's not going to be any pinch points for when someone's releasing it. Secondarily, where our engineers look to improve the safety of products over time, because again, we keep studying and looking and seeing like what else can we do to make this a safe, optimal piece for someone's home, is being able to have this safety lever release. You think of work from home desks and any sort of shelving that you might have someone bump a head on or bump a knee on when they're sitting at it and accidentally release it. This allows it to have a safety soft close feature where you pull the paddle to the side, release, and then as it closes, you have to mind that it's just a mobile display here. As it closes, it has soft close built into it. And then once it's finally closed, if you're up against your wall or on a cart, you can press it in for a built-in detent, and that way it's not going to be flapping around as you move around, or as somebody walks next to it, it's not going to flap out in front of them. So again, just thinking of all the different pain points when developing hardware has always been a key focus of Sugatsune and our engineers. I've been here for about 6 years, and it continues to see new products come out, but also see regular staple products that we have continue to get improved on and developed, and seeing what else we can design to create a safe future. Here's a perfect example of that desk application. So you can imagine if someone was sitting in that seat, it'd be a good functioning flip up desk or flip up shelving area. But you wouldn't have to risk hitting it with your knee once installing the connecting bar, because that way it would keep it from being an easy bump and release. And just kind of a better visual on that, the safety feature. You can also connect multiple brackets at once too. So as you have those longer ones, we tried to think of people that aren't going to have an easy time being able to release, 2, 3, 4 brackets at once. We all only have 2 hands and can't release more than 2 at a time. But this feature allows you to release with one, with the top of your fist, by gripping it, whichever way you'd like, for an easy drop down feature. Lateral door systems, we're going to move into more of the larger hardware thinking, going into your home and how doors play a key part in safety. This one's a unique system. It's our lateral moving link system. And you'll see a short video here on how that works. So instead of it swinging outward like a regular door would, what Keith here is saying is it's going to move, like pull directly out straight just a little bit, and then shift and pivot to the right or the left, depending on your install. This allows for lateral movement, so somebody could easily walk up next to it, open it without having to kind of pivot around a swinging door, and then go through the entryway to the room they're trying to go inside. We were at a trade show, I know, couple years back, and we had a customer that was in a wheelchair, and I know they were able to roll up next to it, and they liked it in the sense that they could open their door fully without having to pivot around that door swinging, to be able to access it. And we hadn't even thought of that at that point. It was nice to see that our hardware was making a difference for someone, for that convenience and safety feature that we keep talking about. This hardware, again, has multiple examples into full-size doors where it'll create more mobility space. It's not going to protrude doors into hallways. It's not going to obstruct walking space, and it's not going to damage anything on your walls either in the process. It does rest on the jamb, so it allows for that easy access to the room. But it's also used all the way down to small cabinetry. So again, with that accessibility feature I spoke about, we've started to see more and more people that might have a handicapable, wheelchair applications that are able to now open that next to the cabinet instead of having to kind of pivot around it for a swinging door. So hearing those stories when we're at trade shows really makes us feel good about the hardware we're developing here. Going into sliding doors, pocket doors and sliding doors have been a really optimal solution for accessibility, for safety. And I know they've really started to trend upwards over the years. I do have a short video here to share on this FD80 sliding door and some of the things, the MFU sliding door that we have. This one's a unique door up here at the top that's going to be lightly pressed in and shift to the side on the inside of a closet. This, again, kind of like the links, will allow that easy access to be able to lightly press without having to grip a handle or do any functions like that, and go into the room and access all your wardrobe. Right, it's creating that convenience of a soft open, soft close feature, so no pinch fingers, but also not having any protruding doors out into the opening. Yeah, also doesn't have bottom rails on that hardware. Here's a video of our FD80 pocket door. Where our pocket doors are a little different is, again, we tried to think of pain points, not just for safety, but that convenience feature too, really creating that safety for the future for our customers. Not only does it have soft close and soft open, but here on the video, you'll see Keith kind of point out that rail right there it's a two-part rail, so you can actually pull that piece down. And if there was ever anything or any issues wrong with the hardware, the door can then slide off the pocket or slide out of the pocket off the rail and be serviced, replaced, cleaned, whatever you need to do, without any customer or user in the future having to break down their pocket door wall to fix their pocket door system. So, I mean, the safety features of the soft close, soft open are always a plus with the hardware, but we tried to think into the future of how much of a pain it can be to replace a pocket door if something were to go wrong. And we wanted to make sure people had that quality or that option to be able to do so without creating more headaches. And just another demo on some cabinet and enclosure hardware here. This next one, you'll see kind of a example of that link system again, but on the cabinet aspect. And it's really just touching on what I already mentioned, with that accessibility feature, being able to access the cabinet without having to swing it out and also operate in tight spaces. Something over the years we've started to notice too is more and more housing and families that are pulled into one solid, home. Space is a key feature since everyone's kind of jammed in there together, working around each other. So being able to operate in small spaces together without having doors get in the way and risk injury running into them is very key with this hardware. You'll kind of see another example in the video down below with the push to open feature as well. So she can push to open the hardware, shift it to the left and right, access their products, and then easily just close it up and latch it shut. Push to open has been a great add-on feature to a lot of different applications that we offer with our latches and catches, mainly because not having to have that pull force of a cabinet door or with a handle having to grip on there, you can now just lightly push and access your cabinetry. This is another example of our push to open touch latches. We do have various amounts of touch latches. Some bigger, some smaller, some heavier duty, some lighter duty. It's really just to show the various applications that we can do. There's one special one I do want to share here on the screen that's just a little unique. If you see right here on the camera screen, I have a pushed open touch latch, right? Just regular special non-magnetic pushed open touch latch. Where this one's unique is, again, our engineers designed something with a floating strike. What that means is it creates convenience for installation. So it actually, the strike will pivot on top of the latch itself on that floating strike. If the door starts to sag or starts to shift, it's always going to engage because it's going to auto adjust as well. So you're not going to have to worry about, reinstalling that latch over and over again, if say you had a bathroom vanity or anything like that. So it is another example of us really trying to focus on how to develop hardware for the future that's going to continuously last and adjust as needed. On this next one, we do have another example of space saving and safety in the home. Pocket doors, but for cabinetry. We've seen a rise in larger cabinet doors being used for more of a modern, concealed look in the home. But one thing we know is if you have a giant armoire or you have a laundry storage area, you don't want to have giant cabinet doors, open and flapping out in front of people's walking space. Where this one's special is it does have a soft close built into it. When you open the door, the pocket doors will slide back into the left and right side of the cabinet. And then when you pull them out to shut it, it will soft close shut. So it has that soft close feature. It also has a space saving feature. So that way you're not being snagged by any open doors where they're stored into the sides. And then it has the adjustability as well, because we try to build in lots of adjustability features just so everyone can make sure it's dialed into their liking. It's great for storing those large appliances and really creating a headache-free environment by being able to have everything concealed, but not have too much doors or anything cluttering up your walking space. And here's a little video example we got. So again, being able to open a cabinet door on the smaller version here, lightly pushing it back into the sides. This was, I believe, at our KBIS show about 2 years ago. And then if somebody were walking by, serving food or bringing dishes back to the counter, they're not going to bump into a left open door. They can continue putting things away. It has an adjustable soft close built into it, so you can adjust actually the speed of your soft close, just because, again, when our engineers do these, they think of what different things people would want. So they actually went to the extent to make sure you had 5-speed adjustable soft close, so you can make sure all your cabinets or drawers shut at the same speed, being able to have that adjustment and freedom to do so. Lastly here, I did want to point out some multi-purpose lids. I think a lot of these get overlooked in the hardware industry, but they do serve like a very good purpose, not just for cleanliness, made of high quality stainless steel, being able to be cleaned in dirty environments or any sort of disposal that you might have. But in the home, as like I kind of referenced earlier with COVID, but thinking about medical, right? If you had any sort of medical waste in the home that had to be disposed of or had to be safely secured, you have these stainless steel multi-purpose lids that soft close, don't slam, but they're cleanable with you can clean with harsh chemicals, being the stainless. And two, we offer one with a locking feature as well. So if you do have some of those medical waste components that you don't want anyone or any other members of that household to accidentally run into contact with, they can be secured from the other people in the home. And even going to the extent that our engineers have looked at that and keeping that safety feature, but as hands-free becomes a higher need in the market, like we don't have it yet, but we're even working on possibly developing a hands-free version of it, so that way it'd be locking in place but not even having to push anything, just waving a hand and having it open, so you wouldn't have to have any sort of transmittable germs from touching spaces going across, to again create those safe environments in one's home. And last one I got here would be some door stops with magnetic catches. This one's a new item that we really developed for creating safety really in the home when it comes to the glass shower doors, right? The idea behind this is that if someone has a shower door, you have magnetic catch like this up the top, it opens inward to help seal it so there's no water or moisture. Say if it were opening outward, you wouldn't want any water or moisture falling on the floor, making a slippery surface. So we have it opening inward, but our engineers looked at that and realized that if someone were to fall or have an emergency inside the shower, what would one do to access the inside of the shower to assist the person that needed help? They might be blocking the door now, being on the inside. This latch has a feature that should pop up here on the screen that it'll actually disengage the magnet. If the door's shut and someone was leaning against the inside of it, you can pull down, disengage the magnet, flip the latch up, and then it allows the door to swing outward, going underneath the catch, so you can then access the person that's in need. So again, thinking of those other contingency plans and situations that haven't happened yet but could happen, that's always key in our engineers' minds when developing these new products. So you'll see an example there. They couldn't get into the shower, and then we're able to open and access it into the system. That is all I have for today. So I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, but I do appreciate all of you attending and listening to me talk about creating a safe future for all. And I look forward to answering any questions you might have.
Go ahead and ask Jeff directly or put it in the chat box, whatever you'd like.
I have a question, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the last feature that he presented with the bathroom hardware is just for a sliding door, like pocket in sliding doors?
No, it would be just for a swinging glass door. So it'd operate like a regular swinging door. But the idea would be that, if it was stuck because someone was on the inside leaning against it. It has a safety feature, so they could access and open it outwardly to access the person, but not sliding door.
Okay, thank you.
We have
Nope.
another question. Jeff Pat wanted to know if the lateral door systems are commercially available.
Asking if they're available.
I don't know, Pat, you want to go ahead and pose your question?
He said, are the lateral door systems commercially available? In the demonstration shown inside the closet, how does a person, okay, so this is Pat first, is it commercially available?
Yeah, no, we have the lateral door systems available here stateside, and we do have them through multiple distribution channels as well in stock at our warehouses here in Carson, Illinois, but also in stock at various distributors that I could always send you a link to find a local distributor near you.
Okay, another question for the lateral opening door inside the closet. How does the person inside the closet open the door?
So on the lateral opening one, you would just be able to push it open. You know, if you have the lateral opening full size, you know, human being door, it's not going to have a latch because that's that built-in soft close that's going to pull it shut. So if you were inside, you would just push outward and then shift it to the side. If you were to get yourself shut in
there. Same way with the pocket door?
are you talking about the sliding, the flush one?
Uh-huh.
So the flush one, we do ask that people put some sort of handle on the inside of that. It could be a ring pull, it could be a flush handle, anything they want. Because on that flush, I kind of call it the James Bond door. It looks like it blends in with the wall. Once it goes into the pocket and is kind of like a barn door once it's inside the room, since you don't technically need a pocket on it, if it does shut, you would need something to pull it inward. So any sort of handle that you'd want to put on the inside of the room for that flush mounted door.
Okay, thanks. Keith put a note in the chat box, a link to your small version of the lateral door. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Other questions, please?
I see one more question from Pat. Can the lateral opening door be used in areas where a pocket door cannot? Great question. A lot of customers ask that. One of the things with the lateral door systems, it's more so intended for more of like a storage unit or a cabinet, not so much as a bypass. We've had some customers use it for bathrooms. You have to kind of know the hardware well, because it's not like a typical door where there's a handle and you just, swing the door open. So it's more so intended for like a closet or a pantry or storage room. So can it replace a pocket? In a sense, it can. The installation is going to be a little bit different, but just be mindful that if it's the door where you want to close the door behind you, you're going to go through a different type of aesthetics and you're going to see the hardware from the inside. Yeah, it's going to depend. Sorry, Pat was thinking about this would be a good alternative for a bathroom to save space. Again, we've had some customers do it. They had the understanding, the homeowner had the understanding, no, I want that look. That's my primary objective, or that's my number one want. And so they understood I would see the hardware, there's a connecting bar, the arms of the hinge. And they understood that they have to push the door open a certain way. But yeah, to achieve that space saving, it's possible. And regarding the hardware for the home desk, if it fails, is it a repair or replacement issue? I think that's for the folding bracket.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be a replacement. Typically, to be honest, we've never really seen those hinges come back damaged. The only thing that I've seen is if people really abuse or jump on it. Some people use it how it's not supposed to be designed, such as a large bed. If it bends, people just replace them. They'll just purchase another one.
Okay.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to put on there to Keith's point too is, we don't see that many issues with them, but a main thing to remember is the hardware is only as strong as the screws you use. That's something too, like if you ever had one that started to fall, you want to make sure you're using screws that are long enough to attach it to your substrate versus something small that might rip out of the wall.
Good.
In terms of where to find the products, for support, Sugatsune is here to support you through the specification and the product selection process. Just come to us with what the objective of your client or yourself wants as far as the look. Maybe like the door openings, the basic dimensions of the door. And we can help walk through and select the items. If you are ready to purchase, we do have a number of distributors throughout the US. You can find it on our website. There's a where to buy link. But Hayfla, Richelieu, those are some names that everyone probably recognizes. But we have other stocking distributors from West Coast to East Coast. There's Charles McMurray. They're on the West Coast. There's HDL and Direct Supply. They're in the Midwest. And Outwater Plastics on the East Coast. So there's really a lot of options as far as where to buy. And then, of course, please reach out to us if you have any questions about the selection process.
There's another question if the hardware comes with screws.
Yeah, depending on which hardware, I don't know if there was a specific piece mentioned, but depending on the hardware that it is from us, there's screws included on some we don't, just because it can vary on what kind of screw you need per application, so that's why only reason we really wouldn't include screws on some pieces is if it's going to be dependent on what you're actually making. But for standard things, we usually tend to include screws. It would just depend on the part.
Okay.
Another question, what is the general price for an internal lateral opening door?
For the Lynx 1000.
So just to chime in real quick, the smaller door that we're often used for closets, the Lynx 800, it retails for $1150.
Okay.
And then for the Lynx 1000, which is the largest one, up to 250-pound doors, you're looking at $2,600 as a standard list price.
Are your prices retail or to the trade or contractor? How's that work?
So
Curtis,
that's our
Curtis.
suggested, oops, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to
Go
say
ahead,
the
Joe.
ones Curtis mentioned, they're all MSRP. When you go through distribution, usually would find a better price. But this would just be the MSRP pricing.
Okay.
All right.
Do you sell directly to the consumer, or do they have to go through one of your distribution channels?
When it comes to depending on the project, we want to make sure all our customers are satisfied. We do, have distribution partners, and we don't want to, not work with our partnerships. But at the same time, if our customers, being anyone on this call or anyone anywhere, has any issues purchasing through distribution, we always encourage them to give us a call, so that way we can make sure they get the best price out there. Because often buying direct from us might not mean the best price if the volume's not there. So we're always happy to help coordinate where they're going to get the best deal from.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything else.
My last comment is a plug for our marketing team. If you can, please join us or follow us on social media. We're on the main platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But our team does a really good job of not just sharing our own content that we create, but we reshare a lot of applications that other people have either designed in and might have solved a particular issue. It's just a great resource for seeing different innovative ways to use our products. There's a newsletter, so you'll get up to date with new products. It only comes out, I think, like once a quarter or every other month, so you're not going to get bombarded with emails.
But I like the way that you, Jeff, the way you were explaining some of the concepts that went into the design, what the engineers were seeing. So I think that's great. So.
Yeah, I can tell you, as someone who's personally smashed their finger in life in doorways and hit corners, I appreciate everything my company's doing to try and fix that.
Yeah,
so.
That's great, and I'm glad you made a point of mentioning that. So.
Yeah. Well, thank
Anything
you.
else we want to cover today? Any questions at all? Here's your chance. So if they're going to be in Las Vegas in the end of February at the KBIS. If any of you have signed up for that or still want to sign up for that, you can do so. And they are present at a number of other shows around the country. They have a really great exhibit. That's where I first bumped into them Oh, years and years and years ago. I don't remember what city that was in at that time. So it's been quite a long time, hasn't it, Curtis?
It's been a long time.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we will bring this to a close. And would you guys like to have Sugatsune come back again in towards the end of the year, next year sometime? Would you like to see him again? Yes? Yeah, all right. Okay. Well, we'll wait till you guys have some new product out. Don't want to have you share the same thing. We'll wait till there's something new and then we'll have you guys back. So with that, I will bring this to a close. Watch for us February 27th for our next program. And thanks everyone for joining us, and you have a great year.
Thank you, everybody.
Reset it.